You're good. Okay, and thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well today. As you all know, I'm Terrence Clark. I'm the president and CEO of the New York, New Jersey Minority Supply Development Council. And on behalf of the council, I want to thank you all for your participation today. You know, hopefully the information that you receive from my colleagues at Tompkins Ventures will be of interest and importance to you as it relates to the continued growth and development of your business. As you are aware, the council not only certifies people, but we try to put people in a position where they can get information that's going to help their businesses grow, help their businesses get to that point where when opportunities become available, you can take full advantage of them and begin the growth and development, and continued growth and development of your business. Very, very important. So specifically, as we are, in the current environment we're in, not only politically, but as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's extremely important that you make sure that your businesses operate at the maximum level capacity so that when opportunities do come up, you're able to fully take advantage of them. And there are no stories as to whether you have the right marketing people, the right personnel, or the right finances to be able to take advantage of that. So toward that end, folks, today we have two representatives from Tompkins Ventures. We're going to talk to you about the importance, and that's the key word here, the importance of workforce. Why workforce is important. When you get to that point where you have a workforce, now you're talking about not working in your business, you're talking about working on your business, which means you got to have the right people to make sure that as you identify opportunities, there are people within your organization that can take advantage of those opportunities and help your business grow and make you successful. Because what are people looking for? They're looking for, if I give you a contract, can you do it on price and on time? The on price and the on time has a lot to do with who works for you and how you develop your workforce to be able to take advantage of and be successful with the opportunities that you get. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Dorcas Patterson. Dorcas used to work with Johnson & Johnson. He was one of our corporate members. He was very successful in helping a number of our clients grow and develop within the Johnson & Johnson organization. He's now moved into this position with Tompkins Ventures. He's going to talk to you about why this is important, and then pass it off to his colleague, Chuck Moyer, who's going to give you some more information as that you really need to know concerning workforce. Good afternoon, Dorcas.
Okay, thank you, Terrence. And good afternoon to everyone on the call. For those of you, whether this is your first call with us or perhaps the third, this is a third in a series of webinars that we partnered with Terrence in the MSDC on. The first one was on transportation. Our second one was on environmental and industrial safety. And today, as Terrence indicated, it's on workforce, and Chuck will cover that. If you're not familiar with Tompkins Ventures, just a quick recap. We are essentially a matchmaking services that has a network of hundreds of commercial partners, capital partners, and consulting partners that we could bring to the table to really help you grow our business. We feel that our toolbox is unlimited, and we have decades of experience with the business partners like myself to partner with you and discuss how we can help your business grow in a sustainable way. The 5 major areas that we focus on are leadership development, access to affordable capital, technology, supply chain, and facilities. Chuck is obviously going to talk about a topic that's a part of the supply chain, but suffice it to say, we hope that you find this information instrumental to your needs, and Chuck and I are available afterwards. Clifton and Terrence will give you our contact information. You can see www.tompkinsventures.com, www.tompkinsventures.com is essentially the link to our website that will give you much more definition around the services that we provide and how we can help you. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Chuck, who will introduce himself and carry us through the presentation. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be with everyone today. I'm Chuck Moyer. I been in supply chain and labor resources since I got out of school, which anybody that's got their cameras can see that that's been a long time ago now. But I have been in the custom logistics final mile space most of my career. I'm a past president of the industry's largest trade association. I've got 12 years experience in M&A, as well as being the president or CEO of some of the larger regional providers in the space. And about 6 years ago, got involved in international supply chain and started working with companies due to my warehousing and staffing background on some solutions associated with the workforce of today. And that's basically what I want to focus on for the next few minutes. The deck will be available post the presentation. So some of the slides I may go through very quickly, but we'll be glad to provide that for everyone so that you have that as a reference, and certainly be glad to answer any questions or have discussions with anyone that would like to post the session today. So, company that I'm with and president for currently is Task for Pros. And what I'd like to do then is start sharing my screen. And can everybody see the screen? Just to confirm.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. All right. So the problem with the labor market as of today, the workforce has changed dramatically, certainly since COVID and over recent decades. In traditional labor companies or staffing companies typically aren't focused on quality solutions. And Task for Pros took the approach, and I'll get into more detail, of basically reestablishing new industry standards and helping companies not only with workforce challenges of today, but in being more productive and operating more efficiently. The traditional staffing companies don't provide data, trained and vetted personnel, on-site supervision, and they have a business model that puts companies at risk. And I'll talk a little bit later about New Jersey and labor laws there. So why Task for Pros? It's important to focus on the workforce of today. It's different, as I said. The work-life balance and scheduling flexibility is more important than ever. The legal landscape is more relevant than ever. And the labor cost to revenue ratio is certainly a challenge, and labor is getting more and more expensive. Task for Pros, when we look at industry standards, and I've got some statistics here, I won't spend a lot of time on it, but 86% of the organizations in a survey found it difficult to fill full-time positions. 3/4 of organizations expect difficulty in finding necessary talent. And less than 12% of organizations think they have the talent and skills needed for the next 3 to 5 years. And almost 70% of organizations think new technology may help attract and recruit new talent. So then on average, it takes about 12 weeks to train a new hire to become fully productive. And the model here and the solution I want to talk to today addresses each of those. Task for Pros, was founded in Brazil in 2019. It's got their proprietary digital platform, and we'll get into that in more detail. But it is an app-based workforce solution. And when we came to the US, we looked at the United States market, some of the challenges relating to labor and the workforce of today. And we focused on 4 primary pillars: helping companies to be more profitable from a risk management standpoint, scalability, and sustainability standpoint. In Brazil, we're running over 100,000 pros. We are also in Portugal and the US. And when we started, I went out and met with Fortune 500 companies, some regional providers, as well as small privately owned companies. And we took the model from Brazil and our own technology development group and modified it for the US application and for the companies here. So from a profitability standpoint, and I'll hit on the 4 pillars, our methodology looked at how we can help our clients be more profitable when it comes to workforce challenges. A lot of them are using traditional staffing companies, which is a 1099 workforce model in most cases. And they're focused on billing the maximum labor hours, not quality. You got specialized staffing agencies, again, typically a 1099 model, independent contractor. And a lot of those companies will focus in on certain verticals. And then you got logistics staffing companies that typically are a W-2 model with employees, but they are focused on the 3PL model and supporting those logistics operations, not companies across the board. From a scalability standpoint, flexible labor solutions that meet or exceed expectations is critical in scaling up or down to meet customer needs and controlling cost. From a profitability and scalability standpoint, I'll use one example. A customer of ours out in Texas, when I started working with them, they needed to implement a second shift. So we provided the workforce for the second shift. Since then, they've seen how effective the model was. And in working with them very closely and understanding their business model, we have been able to substantially impact their profitability. And prior to Task for Pros joining that company, their labor to ratio was significantly higher than industry standards. With Task for Pros model and being able to schedule and manage things more effectively, we were able to reduce their labor to revenue ratio by 10 points. And we're in the process now of doing some additional efficiencies and workflow enhancements. And we expect to be able to lower that ratio by about 15 points, which are all bottom line dollars and adds to the profitability and scalability of that client and any client that we work with. So from that standpoint, we're really focused on that. Our goal is not just to provide labor, but to give our clients a competitive advantage, drive efficiencies, and help them so they can focus on their core business. We allow companies to scale quicker and redirect resources to, again, their core competencies or businesses. We optimize workflows. We implement training programs. We have oversight, provide customers with dashboards and data to help them run their businesses more efficiently. And we allow companies to improve their corporate culture, employee morale. The company that I mentioned in Texas, a lot of their workers were very tired and exhausted from overtime. So by giving them some work-life balance back and giving them additional support, it certainly helped the overall morale. And those key performance indicators allows those companies to really focus on growth strategies and being more efficient. On a sustainability standpoint, having an effective, efficient, performance-based labor solution that allows you to scale up and down, provides that long-term sustainability. A lot of the companies we work with don't always have full visibility on what scheduling they may need, and ultimately bring on extra staff that when volumes are low, they don't need or don't have that visibility. And when volumes spike, then they find that they don't have enough people. So with a business model with like Task for Pros working alongside that company, we can allow them to scale up and down very quickly based on volumes or certain impact factors, and give them the sustainability in the market, which is a definite competitive advantage. From a risk management standpoint, and I know I'm going very quickly, but we have limited time. So again, you can follow up with me and we'll provide this deck for everyone that's on the call. But I have worked for years and spent probably 2 to 3 trips a year up on Capitol Hill lobbying for business models and helping legislators understand the differences in those business models and how Department of Labor really impacts the ability for small businesses to be successful. What a lot of companies don't realize, particularly in the warehouse environment, that there's a lot of legal risk around it. For example, here, Westlaw, which is a major law firm in the U.S., concluded that the companies are liable for employment taxes and payments in the in-house warehouse labor scenario if they're using independent contractors. Scopelitas is a major law firm out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and staffing companies or temp agencies that are using independent contractors to manage warehouse workers are very highly unlikely to be deemed ICs. But even more important than those two legal law firms that provide key advice on the issue, the IRS itself issued a technical advice memorandum, and federal employment, Social Security tax deemed warehouse employees and lumpers are not independent contractors, and the warehousing company is liable for employment taxes, all compensation paid to those warehouse workers or lumpers, and not only certain amounts in-house, but also those outside companies. So there's a lot of risk and liability from a co-employment standpoint, as well as a misclassification standpoint. On a misclassification of independent contractor versus an employee, even if you are successful in defending a claim, could cost companies upwards to $250,000, $300,000 just to defend it. And there's a lot of examples out there where companies lost those lawsuits and had to pay tens of millions of dollars back to that workforce. So jumping to the technology piece, which Task for Pros, again, it's proprietary. We build our own technology. It gives real-time communication with our clients, with our pros, and obviously us as corporate. Very easy to use. It's cloud-based. It's app-based, very Uberistic, if you will. Visibility gives our clients full visibility to scheduling, gives them full visibility. They can even rate our pros. So let's say typically they use 8 pros, and there's been 15 pros that are pre-approved to work at that facility. but they only need 5. By rating the pros, we give those pros the option that have the highest rating first, which gives our clients the ability to have a preferred workforce and by selecting the best of the best. Professional resources, again, very large network of pros, and our reporting gives our clients the data they need to analyze and run their business more efficiently. Our technology, again, app-based for our pros. But it gives our clients real-time tracking, active follow-up. We've got instant communication via the app. We do background checks and pre-employment screening for all of our pros, our employees. We provide the workers' comp, all the insurance. We give our employees benefits. And a key element is if a person's, let's say they're scheduled to start their shift at midnight or 8 o'clock in the morning, it has a 2-hour pre-check-in, which allows us to verify that, yes, they are up, they're awake, they're ready to go to work. And if we do not hear from them in that 2-hour pre-check-in, then we reach out to them and or send a replacement so that that company, the client, does not have a negative impact. But the app is very powerful, light, simple to use. So I do want to speak a little bit to the New Jersey environment, legal environment. New Jersey passed a temporary workers' bill of rights. The law's aimed at equalizing pay for temp workers with direct employees. It makes companies and staffing firms jointly liable, requires temp workers to be paid no less than direct employees, including benefits, not just simply the standard benefit packages like health insurance, vacation, etc., but it also includes the New Jersey Paid Sick Leave Act. New Jersey, as well as several other states, presume individuals are employees unless they meet all 3 factors of the ABC test. And I would be glad to go into that in more detail if anyone would like post the session here today. But what that translates to is you really have to evaluate if you're operating in New Jersey or any of the other states that have a similar law. If you're using a temp agency or staffing company, then you really need to be asking, are you using independent contractors or employees? And how are they structured? Because that company could be putting your company at risk. And that's why at Task for Pros, we designed it around to protect companies in that risk management piece. The Temporary Workers Bill of Rights was held up by appeal. So the Department of Labor in New Jersey has started conducting audits in compliance with that law. I say all of this because the Task for Pros model was really designed to help companies have the workforce they need to meet their customer expectations without having an extensive HR department, to be able to scale up and down quickly and save cost meanwhile, and reestablishing those industry standards. So if we look at the industry standards, your typical temp model, most of those are 1099 independent contractor business models, which puts companies at risk. They don't provide workers' comp. They don't do background checks and drug screens. They don't take a customized approach to training so that you can meet the client's needs. They don't provide typically on-site supervision. They also don't provide any dashboards or KPIs to help that company operate more efficiently. Most of them don't have technology. including the attendance and the pre-alerts. And the average fill rate for that industry, and what I mean by fill rate is if you order 10 workers, that industry, typically you'll get 7 or 8. So the fill rate is between 70 and 80%. Task for Pros, with our model and our culture and the way we treat our people, our fill rate is 97.8%. So meaning if you needed 10 workers, you're going to get 9.78 of those on average. And the turnover rate in that industry is in the 50 percentile range. Task for Pros turnover rate is 16.5%. So as you can see, not only does it address the legal risk, it provides quality, well-vetted, well-trained individuals. And, in summary, because I do want to leave some time for questions, we provide clients with that well-trained, vetted personnel, supervised workforce. We use technology to enhance efficiency and transparency, and we allow companies to focus on their core competencies and protect them from worker misclassification, co-employment risk, while lowering their overall cost. I would venture to say that if I asked the attendees on the call, would you like to put 10 to 15 points back on your bottom line? It would be a pretty easy answer, and I think everybody would probably answer yes to that. But the workforce of today, most of the clients that we work with, when I first talk to them, they say, we can't find good quality people when we try to hire them as direct employees. The temp agencies, staffing companies we use don't provide the people, the quality personnel that we need to meet our customers' expectations. And there is zero risk in doing a pilot or trying Task for Pros. You don't sign long-term agreements. You don't commit to any number of pros. So it is low risk with high return, probability of seeing increased profits, lower risk factors, and improving the scalability and sustainability by meeting your customers' expectations. So the labor force today, when I meet with our pros, they want that work-life balance. They want flexibility. They want fair earnings. They want to be treated with respect. And the culture at Task for Pros does all of that while aligning the workforce with our clients' internal culture. So it's a real strong development tool for any company that has variations in their staffing where they need to scale up and down quickly, or they find that they're not very efficient or effective in recruiting personnel, or scheduling and looking at workflow enhancements. So when you look at the labor market today, there's one of the key things that I've told a lot of companies is operate your company and focus on your core competencies and align with other partners, other companies that can enhance your overall value proposition. And that's what Task for Pros does. That's the way we're built. That's the culture that we stand behind, and why Tompkins Ventures looks at us as a real reinvention of labor and workforce solutions for companies, not only across the US, but on a global basis. So with that, I would like to open it up for questions, and certainly be glad to go into more detail on any of those slides. I know I went through it very quickly, but I did want to leave plenty of time for questions and closing comments by, the team. Any questions?
Chuck, this is Dorcas. For the, just thinking about it.
Dorcas, did I lose you?
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the mic went on. Just thought that there's 2 or 3 things here that I think would be helpful to the business owners. One would be maybe share with them what the lead time is for getting up and running if they were interested in these services. That would be number one. Number two is what industries are the companies most in? What industries are the companies in that you support currently, so that it gives them some idea around the diversification of the services that you're offering, and then also maybe share with them how a client would pay for the services and so forth. So those 3 things: the lead time, what industries you cover, and how would a business owner pay for services related to using this.
Great, and I appreciate that. All 3 very good questions. One, as far as lead time, we are with a new client, we are typically up and running within 2 weeks. That includes working through the bid, the agreements, training and vetting the personnel, and being on site with a workforce filling your needs. So 2 weeks or less. For that piece of the question. As far as different verticals and business opportunities, we started out here in the US working with supply chain companies. We are now working with manufacturing. We're providing office personnel for other clients. And even though some of the competitors in the space, they either just provide a warm body that is not necessarily trained or vetted, or even some of the companies that focus on certain verticals, we will provide those personnel that are trained and vetted for whatever the position may be. For example, I've got one client that I'm working with out in California right now, and the California labor market is very challenging. And he actually tried to do some offshore labor solutions and did not have a lot of success with that. Task for Pros here in the US is based in Nashville, Tennessee, or Franklin, Tennessee, right outside Nashville. And he has called me and said, Chuck, the people you've brought me are excellent. Anybody that works for us that can work remotely, would you be interested in bringing them on, housing them in Tennessee, working for us so that they can make it bigger impact with their workforce and not face all the challenges with the labor market in California? So short answer, broad range of positions. We've got one distribution company that delivers beverages to stores. We worked with that client. They've seen a 30% improvement in their driver to stop ratios, because before the driver would have to stop at a location, he would have to not only offload the truck, but do the inventory, the restocking, etc. Now with Task for Pros aligned with that driver, the driver can go on and actually has improved the number of stops by that 30%. So we've got everything from warehouse personnel, manufacturing, office, and support personnel in a lot of different verticals. And help me remember the third question.
The third it relates to how do the clients pay for the services?
Okay. Yeah. So in the initial agreement, we just spell out the terms. Most of our clients, ACH, we We provide them time and attendance. They audit that. It's very simple electronic format. We invoice them, and then based on payment terms, again, most companies will pay electronically. Some still do manual checks, but we spell that out in the agreement on the front end when we do our bids and quotes. But
Thanks,
very
Rick.
simple, painless process. We automate everything and anything we can so that some of the clients that I work with, in fact, one that I visualize it every time I think of the story. I went in and sat down with him, and I sat down with the supervisor that the personnel was going to be working for. And I looked over on the corner of his desk, and he had a stack of time cards that was probably 6.5 inches high. And he seen me looking at it, and he said, "How do you guys provide time and attendance?" And I told him electronic format, and our time and attendance is done electronically with either the app or an on-site tablet. It's got geofencing associated with it, so the person has to be on site to clock in and clock out. And we give them a summary report. We can do that daily, or we can do that weekly, depending on that client's preference. It's literally takes minutes for them to review and approve. And he said, man, that within itself would save me a ton of time. The company they were using for flex labor at the time was actually stamping a time clock, and he had to go through every one of those time cards every week. So again, we're focused on the efficiencies and helping companies improve workflows, have the quality of people they need, and at the same time, make sure that they're not putting the company at risk by using companies that are using business models that potentially could put them in harm's way. All right. Any other questions? I know New Jersey people are on the call, and certainly be. Have you heard about the Workers' Bill of Rights? Have you seen any challenges at this point, or anybody on the call that may use a temp agency or a staffing company? Do you understand and know what kind of business model they're operating? Again, our goal, much like the Texas company that I mentioned, is to find ways to drive efficiencies, improve your profitability, and allow you to scale and grow your business and your core competencies and meet or exceed your clients' expectations. So we truly do view ourselves as an advisor, a partner, and help you in any way possible to achieve your goals and long-term success factors. Okay. All right. If no other questions, if I could ask the group, and I know it's difficult in this format, but are you experiencing labor issues, finding good quality personnel and personnel staffing to be able to scale either up or down to meet your needs in an effective manner? All right. So, all right. Any other questions? Comments? Quiet group. Most of the time, I don't leave enough time for Q&A. I could have gone slower through the presentation. I apologize. All right. Terrence, Dorcas, anybody closing comments, thoughts?
And my closing comments, first of all, Chuck, thank you for the information that you provided to some of our clients this afternoon. Is greatly appreciated. Hopefully once people get to review the information that you had in the deck that you had, they can contact either yourself or Dorcas for further information. What we will try to do is make this information available for a larger group of our clients so that they know how, what's in it, and also how to get in contact if they need your services. I appreciate both you and Dorcas your time today for putting this together. It's certainly helpful and enlightening information for myself and some of my colleagues. And we look forward to working with you going forward. Appreciate it.
Great. Well, I thank you and the group, and anything I can ever do to support your efforts, by all means, be glad to assist you any way I can, be it with labor or anything else from my background.
I appreciate that. Thank you kindly.
Terrence, we'll make sure to get you the deck, Chuck, get you the deck afterwards to share. And I'll just say from my end, our hope is that we can have one or two more of these into this year for those that are on. The next two scheduled ones are access to capital and working capital and technology. So stay tuned with Terrence and his calendar, and hope to see you again for the next one. Thanks a lot, Terrence and Clifton, for supporting us.
Thank you. Everybody have a great afternoon. Take care now.
Thank you.